Hello everyone. So I decided I was gonna do a vlog because I just got, let's see if I can not get my thumb in the camera there. I just got my second COVID vaccine and we just did a cross-country road trip all the way from Missouri to Oregon, and basically my life is crazy hectic and I'm stressed out, and I know that I'm probably gonna get sick or like feel, you know, some symptoms from this second dose. So I'm planning on just spending a couple of days holed up in bed, partly for a vacation and partly, you know, in case I get sick. But I thought this is a perfect opportunity to do some reading because I have a handful of books. So we moved into my husband's grandmother's house and there was a bunch of books here already. I went through the shelves and picked up some of the things I wanted to read, and then I hit a used bookstore yesterday, and so here are some books that I'm thinking about possibly reading during my quarantine 2-day vacation. I don't know what I'm calling this, but because it is May, it's still May, right? Yes, May. The Asian Readathon is happening, so I have a few options for that. I could read The Buried Giant by Kazuo Ishiguro, which I have no idea what this is about. I thought it was short stories, but apparently it's not. This is a gorgeous book. I think there are dragons. I'm not sure. I could pick up A Tale for the Time Being by Ruth Ozeki. And I'm not entirely sure what this one's about either, but it's been on my TBR for a few years, and it involves the Pacific Northwest, which is where we are. And I think someone on the beach finds like a message in, kind of like a message in a bottle, but it's in like a lunchbox or something. And from a child in, I think, Japan. Like I said, I don't know what that's about, but it sounds very good. And then this chonker, I have had 1Q84 on my TBR for ages, but this is by Haruki Murakami, and this one I found on the shelves here at Grandma's house. It has this old bookmark. It's so beautiful. It says it's from like 85, which is delightful. And I thought, how fun would that be to just sit and binge through this over the next couple of days? But in case that doesn't happen, I also have a few things. I'm still reading Sin Eater by Megan Campisi, and I'm really loving this. It's very Handmaid's Tale, very much enjoyable. And then I have a couple of sci-fis just in case I need some sci-fi in my life. Behind the Throne, and An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. So I'm not sure quite what I'm going to start with. I was already reading this earlier today, and it is a little slow. It's very atmospheric. It is very dystopian and a little depressing. So I was thinking something a little bit faster or funnier. I should bounce between two different things to kind of even it out. So maybe I'll do like try a chapter tag. Maybe I'll read the first chapter of all 5 of these and then decide. That's a great idea. That's what I'm going to do. Okay, so the first one I'm going to try is The Buried Giant. I'm going to read the first chapter and let you know what I think. Okay, I read the first chapter of The Buried Giant, and this was weird. This was really weird. I know nothing of this story going into it, so I'm just going into it blind. But this is a story about an older couple. Oh, there we go. This is a story apparently about an older couple Axel and Beatrice, and they're living in a village that's underground. Kind of feels like a rabbit warren or slash hobbit holes that are connected with the rest of the village. And there's this weird, like, memory issue that is, like, through the whole village. Nobody really remembers anything from day to day, and people are disappearing, and only Axel is really remembering anyone. Beatrice remembers their son, but nobody else does. And I can't tell what is really going on here, but everything seems very dreamlike and whimsical, but nobody really remembers what's going on. So anyways, Axel and Beatrice are getting ready to go on a trip to go try and find their son, whom they believe lives in a nearby village. But they have to get permission from the leader, their religious leader of the village. And the religious leader has been kind of picking on them a little bit and has, I don't know. They've lost certain privileges, but they don't really know why. And I don't know. It's very confusing. I have no idea what's going on. I am intrigued into where the story's gonna go, but it does still feel slow and dense, which is good, but it's not exactly what I'm looking for to pair up with the Sin Eater, because it feels like a very similar tone as the Sin Eater, very slow, and I'm looking for something a little lighthearted. So I think I am going to try the first chapter of 1Q84 next, and I will check in after I read that. Okay, I just finished the first chapter of 1Q84, and my hair is crazy. So I don't know very much about this except for that it is supposed to be a play on 1984. I think it's supposed to be more futuristic, though. I'm not sure. That's basically all I know. So this first chapter is about a young woman, Aomame, and she's stuck in traffic in a cab, and she has an interesting experience, like an exchange with the taxi driver, who tells her that, well, you don't have to be stuck in traffic. You could just take this emergency exit. But if you step off the normal path, things might start to change for you. You might start to see things in a different way. And she does that. She chooses to do that. And that was it. So I'm not sure what happens next. I'm intrigued. I'm very intrigued, though. This might win. I might choose this one. I also have the audiobook version in case I want to, go back and forth between reading and listening. But I'm going to read the first chapter of A Tale for the Time Being and see, read the first chapters of the rest of these books before I make a decision. But so far, 1Q84 is winning so far. Okay, so I read the first chapter of A Tale for the Time Being. It was a very short chapter. It was broken up into 4 smaller sections, which were little notes from a teenage girl, and she is writing to an anonymous stranger that she doesn't know. She doesn't know who's gonna find the notes, but she's sitting in a coffee shop and just writing random notes, and she is preparing the reader for a tale of her grandmother, and her grandmother sounds like a badass, very much, you know, a strong female character who's lived a long life, is now currently a Buddhist nun, but has lived, you know, she alluded to the fact that it was a crazy life. And it also sounds like this teenage girl is either dying or intending to kill herself, because it sounds like she is not long for this world. So, I don't know, I'm torn on this one. I think it sounds very interesting and very readable. I'm very interested in this grandmother character. I don't know how I feel about it being narrated by a teenage girl, but it does sound like it's told in it sounds like every other chapter is narrated by a different character. The first one is Now. I think that's how you pronounce it. Oh my god, I'm trying to... Now, N-A-O, Nao. And the second chapter is Ruth. So I'm assuming Ruth is who finds the letters. So I don't know, I'm torn. I definitely want to read this at some point, but I don't know if today is the day I want to read it. So I am gonna go get myself a snack, and then I'm gonna come back and read the first chapter of these 2. Okay, I just finished the first chapter in Behind the Throne, and so the other line here, what are those called? The like subtitle or whatever, is once a gun runner, now heir to an empire. And this one I've never heard of before, but I found it in the used bookstore, and it intrigued me. It sounds almost like a YA like plot, but it is an adult novel. The character is nearly 40, the main character, who has been on the run for a while. She ran away from her royal family, and she has been like a space pirate kind of, or mercenary or whatever, gun runner. And the first chapter started where she woke up in a pile of bodies in a pool of blood, couldn't really remember, like clearly had a concussion, couldn't exactly remember what was happening, and at the same time, the ship that she was on was boarded by another team, I guess. And so she's struggling to like figure out what's going on, trying to run away from the people who just came on board her ship. And it turns out that two of the people that, yeah, I don't know, two of the people who came aboard her ship have been tracking her, and were sent by her mother, who is the Empress, to bring her back home because all of her sisters are dead and she is the last heir to the throne. And she basically wrote her family off about 20 years ago and swore she'd never go back, so this is very frustrating for her. She feels like she failed in... The reason she left home in the first place was to track down her father's killer, and she feels like she failed that task, and doesn't deserve to go home. And it sounds like there's some tension with her mother, but at this point she really has no choice. She is being forcibly taken back home. And so she decides to make the best of it and possibly investigate her sister's mysterious deaths. So this is intriguing. I don't know. It's not written as well as some of the others that I've read. It does feel kind of YA. But that being said, the plot intrigues me. So I am considering this one. All right, and then the last one I have to try is this Hank Green book, An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, which the only thing I know about it is there are like alien robots, and someone finds one and makes a video with it and then goes viral, which is interesting. So I will let you know what I think. Okay, so I finished the first chapter in An Absolutely Remarkable Thing, and I can tell I'm starting to get a fever. It's been about 4.5 hours since I got my shot, so the side effects are starting. But I'm gonna try and make this quick. So the first chapter in this is from the perspective of a 20-something-year-old girl, April May, and she is fresh out of art school and working in a startup company that she hates, and on her way home late/early, it's like 3 o'clock in the morning, she just comes across this giant statue just on the sidewalk. It's huge. It looks like a transformer samurai. And, you know, at first she's like, sweet, New York is awesome. And she just kind of walks past, and then she's like, okay, no, let's do this. Let's actually take the time to appreciate this piece of art that someone clearly put a lot of time and effort into. So she calls her friend, and together they make a YouTube video about it. And that is what happened in the first chapter. Let's see. This book, definitely the beginning of the first chapter, it had the same cadence as Hank Green. So I follow Hank Green on most social medias, and he has a particular way of, you know, talking, and it definitely sounds like him, or at least it did at the beginning. It kind of started to, like, I started to forget it was his book and get into the story towards the end of the chapter. But it definitely has more of a, I don't know how to explain it, like an informal, sorry, I'm trying to think through this fever. There's a word. What is the word? What's the word? Unconventional? There we go. Oh my God, that took way too long. It's an unconventional style of writing, and it feels kind of more informal and more modern, I guess. I'm not sure. It's good. I don't think it's exactly where I want to go right now. So what we've got is my thumb in the way. Okay, so I think The Buried Giant is a little too slow. I don't think I'm going to be continuing on with that one. An Absolutely Remarkable Thing is not slow, but it's just not what I'm in the mood to read right now. So that leaves me with these three. I think I'm going to say A Tale for the Time Being is not quite the right time to be reading this, so I will wait. All of these I definitely do want to read at some point, just not right now, especially with a fever coming on. So that really does leave me with two options. I think Behind the Throne would be an easy read, but 1Q84 is so good. And I have the audiobook for this, so I could bounce back and forth. So, I don't know. I might try and read them both. I can't decide. Maybe I'll read another chapter in both and then make a final decision, or maybe I'll just keep reading the both of them. I'm not sure. But these three are going on my pile for some other time. All right, I'm gonna keep reading and check in with you guys later. Okay, so I've read the second chapter of this. And I did a little bit of Googling on the author, KB Wagers. I think it's Wagers. So apparently the author has like a black belt or like a second degree black belt in Kung Fu, which is pretty cool because in the second chapter there was a fight scene, a hand-to-hand fight scene that felt legit, and that was really well done. Other than that, I'm enjoying some aspects of this. So apparently the main character is royalty, and apparently this is a very matriarchal society, and it's not just the royalty, it's all of society. So there's actually like reverse sexism, or like sexism against men in this, which is interesting, an interesting take. And there's just these subtle little jibes and like just little references to the trackers who are bringing our main character Hale back home. There's little references to one of them, you know, isn't a proper man, who just, you know, bites his tongue and does what he's supposed to or whatever. I don't know, little things like that, which is interesting. There are still, I mean, it's a little tropey, but I am enjoying it. So I'm very happy that I picked this one up. Apparently this is a whole series, or at least a trilogy. So, yay. I'm gonna take a break and have some dinner, and then probably get back to 1Q84. So I'll check in later. Okay, just a quick check-in. It's the next day. I am feeling all of the symptoms from the COVID vaccine, so I have not done a lot of reading. But last night I did read another chapter of 1Q84. I didn't love this as much, the second chapter. It introduced a new character, an author, who was talking to their editor. And I read a little more of Sin Eater, which I love this. I'm more than halfway now through it. And this is interesting how close to, or how many words are important. It's intense how close to Handmaid's Tale this is, or like how it gives off that vibe. But it's really good and I'm enjoying it. Right now I'm just kind of trying to function as much as possible. I'm just resting. I need to get better by tomorrow. I know that's ridiculous, but we have things to do this weekend. Today's Thursday. And so I'm just resting, and I haven't had the energy yet to start reading. I've been listening to podcasts and stuff. So that's my check-in. I'll check in later. All right, hello everyone. I did not film yesterday, or if I did, it was terrible footage and I'm probably not going to add it to this vlog because I was feeling very terrible. I mostly just napped and felt very sorry for myself all day yesterday. But I'm feeling much better now. Today is Friday. I got vaccinated on Wednesday, so that it should be over. The symptoms should be done. And I'm not up to 100% yet, but I'm feeling so much better than yesterday. So I didn't get a lot of reading done yesterday, but I did read another chapter or two in Sin Eater. I'm still loving this, but it is still very slow. So I find myself falling asleep if I read more than just like a chapter or two at a time. I have not touched this since Behind the Throne, but I was thinking that oh, there's a bug. Or I'm losing my mind. So I haven't picked this up since the last video, but I have been thinking about it and how they have turned the sexism on its head. And there was another instance where the main character's love interest was murdered to help further her plot. So he got fridged, which is interesting. Like, I don't read a lot of books where they take all the stereotype sexism and then just straight up flip it on its head. I really enjoyed that. I have been reading 1Q84. The last chapter I read was a very odd, erotic chapter about two teenage girls exploring their sexuality together. And that just felt a little weird coming from, coming out of nowhere and from a male author. But I do hear that this author sexualizes every female in his stories for no reason, so I'm not entirely surprised. But I am interested to see where these stories go. Obviously, I'm still at the beginning. But that's all my reading progress so far. And apparently, I have to read A Study in Scarlet for my book club, which is meeting on Wednesday, doing the live show. So I might have to take a break from these and read that, but I will keep you in the loop. All right, I am checking in. It's been about a week, well, exactly 1 week since I got vaccinated. And I need a bit of an outro to this reading vlog. So, I've been reading Behind the Throne a lot today, and I am on page 170, and I am really enjoying this. Still a bit tropey, but turning the tropes on their heads and dealing with a lot of sexism, and they've introduced a little bit of racism, but again, it's kind of opposite because most of the main characters and the main culture here is people of color. I believe so it's sci-fi, so they're on their own planet, but I do believe their ancestors came from India and then set up their own, political system, their own world, their own government. But now they've been at war for a very long time with white people, I guess. People descended from Russia, which is interesting because there's some play on the whole, like, stereotyping and, like, they are the evil ones and everything like that, it's interesting. I'm enjoying what the author is doing, flipping those things on their head. That is a lot further than I've gotten in 1Q84. I'm not gonna lie, this might not be doing it for me. I'm on page 45, so I have not made it that far, but there was a very erotic scene between two teenage girls, And that was just a weird tone. And it reminded me why, I don't know, I've been hesitant to pick up anything in this vein for quite a while. I feel like a lot of these, see, I've read a Murakami book before and it was weird, but then I don't think it was Haruki Murakami, so I don't think these authors are the same, but like, I'm trying to remember what that was called. It was like In the Miso Soup. What was that? I'm gonna look that up, see who that was. Okay, so that was Ryu Murakami. That's totally different. I'm just being ridiculous. But it felt very uncomfortable reading about two teenage girls exploring their sexuality together, written by a male author. I don't know. I'm just having trouble moving past it. And then the other book I've left in the living room. Okay, and the third book I was reading was The Sin Eater, or just Sin Eater. And I have made it to page 175. I'm nearly finished with this. Maybe I'm like 60% of the way through this. Still loving it. It's still too slow. I cannot binge through this. But on top of all of these, I did read Study in Scarlet Women. Who was that? I don't remember who wrote that, but that was for the book club, and we meet tonight. We're going to be discussing that on Nichole's channel for the Who Picked This Book book club. I think that's what it's called. So I've actually been reading quite a bit this week, and it has felt amazing. So that has been lovely. And maybe I'll do another vlog. This was fun. This was easy. I feel like I've been in my bedroom the entire time because we moved and we're still waiting for our U-Hauls to get here with all of our things. So there's been very little else to do besides reading. Anyways, thank you guys for watching, and I will talk to you again soon. Bye.